Welcome to the show, everyone. I have a special treat for you today. I've brought back some of the participants from my Date Your Body program. I love highlighting those of you in the community that are doing the work with me. I can see the transformation because when you listen to a podcast or you read a book and you hear about success stories, you might think, well, that's nice for them. That's nice. What does that actually look and feel like? Maybe they're more like JJ, but I'm not like JJ, so I can't do those things. You're not speaking to me. I want to be able to represent all different kinds of people that are out there that are searching for answers and long-term solutions to the situation and let's say problems and or opportunities we have in dealing with our bodies. As most of you know, I've been a personal trainer for 25 years before I sort of retired and became an empowerment strategist. And I was feeling for a long time like that was like one section of my life, and then I moved into the emotional piece, and I didn't marry them together until last year when I decided it was time to work on the emotional piece with our bodies along with the physical piece, and I created Date Your Body. And it was a beta program that I ran in 2024 after the summer, probably what, July, August, September, something like that. And so I've got some people from the beta group as well as the people from 2025 January through April of this year who did Date Your Body. And what I'm wanting to talk about today is unlike other programs where, and again, I guess if you say a million people do this program, of course, there'll be a percentage of people that do it, have results, and then fall off the wagon, quote unquote. But my goal for this program was to change the way you live, change the way you deal with your body, change the way you love and talk to yourself, change the way you interpret things that have to do with self-care, with self-love and respect, things that are physical in nature. And I've been hearing about how most of the people who are here with us today, well, definitely all of them, and then others that aren't necessarily included in today's show, have been continuing to keep the program going. They live differently. And I wanted to share that with you to let you know that this isn't a 3-month program that you come in, you fast a lot, you change your diet temporarily, you have results, you leave, and then you return back to your life. My number one goal is to change your relationship with self-care and with your body. So with that said, I've have a couple questions I'm going to ask these ladies, and we're going to go in the order in which they sort of started with me in Date Your Body Beta. I believe, Miss Julie, you were probably one of the first people to sign up. So I think
Mhm.
people have heard you before, but why don't you just give a brief little introduction about who you are, how you got to me, and why you decided to do Date Your Body?
Okay, so I'm Julie Larner Dewberry, and um, JJ was a guest on my son-in-law's podcast. And when I heard her speak, I was like, "Ooh, there's my sister Nancy speaking to me from up above." And she mentioned that she had a free workshop, manifestation thing, and I've said before, who doesn't love something free? So I signed up. And then from there came the Date Your Body, which I've had body issues all my life. So the Date Your Body was life changing for me. And since we started, I've maintained a healthy weight. I used to say I lost so much weight, but if you lose something, you're looking to find it. You don't want to find it. I'd lose it and find it with interest, more pounds. So I now say I released the weight. But the big thing for me was I divorced my scale, and I I I was obsessed with the scale, and I shared with everyone in the group that I used to carry my scale when I went away. People would say, "Oh, your luggage is heavy." Well, yours would be too if you had a scale in there wrapped up in blankets and towels, so it wouldn't make a mess. But the most destructive part of that was the scale ruled my life. So I would jump up first thing in the morning, get on the scale, whatever it said. If it said I was down, then, oh, good, I can eat. If it was up, oh, no, I starved. And then there were the days where I just ate until I couldn't even fit another sliver of rice in my tummy. So I I changed. I gave up gluten. Uh, I, I gave up gluten. I gave up sugar, and I gave up dairy. I've since returned a little bit to the dairy because I love my cheese. I'm doing nut milks. But I've recently been diagnosed with congestive heart failure, which requires the treatment requires that you weigh yourself every single morning, and you take medication based on what that scale says. So I'm like, oh no, I'm going to backslide. No, I figured out that what that says on the scale is medical, not, and it's not going to hurt me. So I do what I need to do physically, and then I go in and use one of the skills that we learned in Date Your Body, which is mirror work. And I do the mirror work every day anyway, but this time I've added a statement that says the numbers that appear on the scale are to help me with my physical heart, not my soul. So I'm still doing that. And the other thing that I do want to say is that I don't think it took 2 days after I gave up the gluten and the sugar to cure a 6 decades. I'm 82, and I had these problems in my 20s where I would eat something, boom, I had to be near a near a restroom facility, and it ruled my life as far as going out to dinner or whatever. And it's gone. It's gone, and it has not returned. So there's freedom there to go and do physically whatever whatever I want to do.
I want to mention because I know in the last like there was a long stretch of time until what April this year. So you did Date Your Body last year. That was what June, July, August, and then from there until April of this year, where all of your doctors were saying you were aging backwards. Your
Right,
eyesight got better. Like every other marker was doing amazing. And part of the
right.
congestive heart failure, you've had a lot of loss. I mean, your sister died, your niece died, your
My
son-in-law's
my friend
mother
who lives
died.
there, mhm,
Yeah, there's been a lot of
yeah.
grief and a lot of heart pain.
Also, very close friends that that I had known. One friend I had known 70 years. So, all of those people, it was just like boom, boom, boom. Every time I answered the phone or looked at my social media, there was someone else that was gone. And on top of that, I got the dreaded some kind of respiratory illness. So,
Yeah. And so I want to I want to highlight and celebrate how committed and dedicated you were to all the parts of Date Your Body and how much it really did make a shift in your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual self. You became it was like the starting off point from starting Date Your Body. You met other people, you started other programs, like it was the starting off point of changing the relationship with yourself, which then led to being interested and curious and wanting more and wanting to do things and put yourself out there. Because before that, correct me if I'm wrong, weren't you just sort of knitting and watching television?
I don't knit, I
Oh,
crochet.
crochet.
But
I'm sorry.
um,
Okay. Oh,
yeah, oh, well, it's fine. And I'm sorry, that's the Virgo in me making sure everything is accurate. But yeah, I crocheted and read. Generally, in 3 days, I'd read two books. So, and I'm not sorry that I'm not doing that life anymore, because I know that um, I'm here for a reason. And then we get into the spiritual kind of emotional thing. And it gets validated for me all the time. People will say, "Oh, you're so wise," and "Oh, I never thought of that," or whatever. So, yeah, I'm not the same person that I was before I started this. I'm still the brilliant, gorgeous, whatever, and but
yes, you are.
there's there's there are things in my brain that have been sleeping, because I did start a spiritual journey, oh, maybe 4 decades ago, and got waylaid, and they're waking back up, and they're like yelling to get out.
Hmm. let me ask that question, even though I think you kind of answered it, but I'm setting the stage for everybody else coming after you. So the first question is, since completing the Date Your Body program, what changes have truly stuck with you physically, mentally, and emotionally? And how have they shown up in your day-to-day life?
Well, I feel absolutely different about my body. Um, I used to, I always worried, was I the fattest one in the room? Was I the ugliest one in the room? I wouldn't, there were lots of opportunities in my life to audition for plays or movies or to give a speech that I didn't do because I was fat, you know, and ugly. And now I would go and do all of those things. I would go and do, and I'm doing them. I mean, I do an affirmation and a National Calendar Day video, and funny ones are coming up too. Every morning, every single morning. I haven't missed a morning since December 13, 2024. Even when I was um, incredibly ill in the hospital, I still managed to, with the monitors beeping in the background and stuff. So anyway, I am putting myself out there in way larger audiences than I ever had before. And um, I lost my train of thought. There you go. But
That's okay. We can end there with you are putting yourself out there in more places.
right,
Yeah.
right. And I I don't worry about what I look like. You know, if I'm gonna go live, or I'm filming, I run a brush through my hair and go. And it's like it's like because I've been told that by, I mean, people in Australia, in England, they come into a live and they go, "There's a glow. I saw your glow," and this is a TikTok term, FYP. I saw your glow in the FYP, and I came in, and I'm like, okay, so that's how I feel about it. I can't find I can't find anything negative to say, and I even find, like, if something negative comes around, I'm kind of like going to kind of look for the positive, and it's phew, right in here, right in here.
Thank you. Thanks, Julie. Yeah, I did record, although I don't think I've kept them all. I think every day on during Date Your Body, because the Date Your Body beta program was only 2 months. But I think every day you came on to, you have, I had another breakthrough today. I had another major, today was a miracle. I had another, I mean, it was a constant, I was telling all the groups in 2024 that nobody compared to Date Your Body beta because everybody was having a breakthrough every other day. And it was very exciting. And it was really cool because you guys were the first to experience me putting this program together. And I appreciated everybody's participation and willingness and excitement and dedication. So thank you.
It was, yeah, it, there was a win every day. There was a win every day for 2 months. And I was always thrilled to get and share it. And when I mentioned to my daughter this morning about doing this recording, she said, "Mom, don't forget to tell them the key, one of the keys was the accountability. One of the keys was the accountability, because she said you had people that were caring about you and wanting you to succeed, and you were feeling the same way about them, and that was a key to all of you for your success."
We recorded a podcast with Healing the Mother Wound, and Amy and Tracy and Mandy were in that, and Maureen was in that. And I got a text from Maureen the next day that said, "Oh, I forgot to say this on the recording, but the reason why I've been with you for so long and I there's so much value in your programs is because healing is not stagnant." And you can always learn more about yourself. And doing it together in a group makes all the difference because you create a tribe of people who are all on the same path that help stoke the fire of you being committed to yourself. So it's the reason why, if you're listening to the show, that I don't really do things one on one with people. You do one on one work with me inside of the group, but there's not like a one on one because the group aspect offers so much power, so much love, so much perspective that one person, I don't care who you are, cannot replace that. And it's just so powerful to do it together as a group. It keeps everybody inspired and it helps them to uplift each other. So thank you, Julie. I'm gonna move to Mandy. Mandy, so you have the question about Date Your Body and how it, like some of the things that have sort of lasted from last year for you now.
The self-care with compassion and appreciation is what has really come forward with me. Um, the compassion and the appreciation for yourself is what allows habits to stick. So, we all know to eat nutrient-dense foods. We all know to move our bodies. But if we are not doing that out of compassion instead of out of fear or scarcity, it's not sustainable. So the sustainability is what's come forward with me and my bag of tools. So the things that you taught me, us, the Ho'oponopono, the mirror work, the affirmations, tapping, um, visualization. So all of these things now we have this bag of tools that we can pull out. And if we're treating ourselves with compassion and appreciation, we recognize when we need a tool and then we just pull it out of the toolbox and we take care of it. Um, so that is what's really come forward and is a part of my everyday life.
I'm not sure. Mandy and I did a solo conversation interview together. And so we talked about a little bit more there. But one of the things that she had mentioned on that is that she's been more consistent with doing her self-care, the exercise and the food and all the things that she's been able to white knuckle before. But now it's easier because of the why that she's doing it, which is what you just talked about. So, one of the things that has stuck is that it wasn't just, I'm going to quote unquote diet and exercise for a short period of time. This is now going to be part of my life.
Absolutely, absolutely. So physically, what's moved forward? I've actually lost, or I've released Julie, 10 more pounds. But more important than that was that even though I quote unquote only lost 10 pounds, I actually shifted 2 sizes. So that whole thing about the scale not telling the whole truth is real because 10 pounds is not 2 sizes. So that's been nice, but yeah, so that's what's come forward with since then.
And all the clothes that you didn't even think you could wear because you couldn't fit into them or you didn't like the way you looked. And now you and for the couples retreat, you packed all your outfits. You're very excited about all your new outfits that you had. And it does make shopping different when you can walk into a store and explore more things. It feeds the desire to keep that going because you feel better in your body.
1000%. I used to hate shopping and now I quite enjoy it. I don't do it very often just because I like a small wardrobe, and I don't need clothes all the time, but it is so nice to be able to walk into a store and know that I can pull anything off that rack.
I think that's pretty worth it right there. If you hate shopping because you don't like looking at yourself in the mirror, it's a good reason to ask, do I need to date my body? And the answer would be yes. So thank you, Mandy. All right, Chef Karen.
Hello. All right. So let's see. So what's something that I incorporate daily and that's been very impactful are one of the exercise you gave us, which is the 10 I ams. And I do it ritually every morning and I a lot of mornings naked as we was I mean at the beginning I always did, which that at the beginning alone was like to stand in the mirror and look at myself naked and not focus on all the flaws, instead actually say positive things about myself with the I ams. And then eventually it led to actually reading them and, well, saying them, because I have those and I have the loving 7 posted by my bedroom mirror every morning to work on. But those, the I ams, that now that as I actually say them, it's not just words coming out, I actually feel them. And like one of them is I am a warrior. And I'm like, as I say it, it's like I become the warrior. And now when I say, oh, I just got goosebumps as I said that. And then even I am love, which is goes into my journey and other things as well. I am love, but I feel my heart open up. So it's now it's tangible. It's not just saying I'm feeling it. I'm believing it. I'm not, as I say positive things, I could actually believe it and not twisted to a negative thing about myself. So that's extremely impactful, as well as releasing a weight that I have not been at and not lost weight, right? I've released the weight that I'm now a number, not that the number means everything, but I haven't been in over 20 years. And I've gone down a lot in size. And same thing, that now I could go shopping and actually pick up whatever and things I like and things look good. And it's not where I would in the past go and just start trying on everything. I just hate everything and get disgusted and walk out. So it's been impactful in so many ways.
So far, what I'm hearing is everyone has continued to release weight and everyone has continued to feel great in their bodies and continue the consistency of the things that they did during Date Your Body. For Julie and Mandy, it's been a year, but for you, Karen, Tracy, and Amy, it's only been 10 months. But only, still, again, people might look at the program and say, well, it's 3 months. Of course, it's in January. Is it a fad? Is it something where you're going to starve me for 3 months? I'm going to lose all this weight. And then all of a sudden I'm going to go back and revert back to who I was. And that's not the goal, which is why we're having this conversation, because I've noticed all of you continue to be different and to take on the things we did and to live them as if this is now your new normal. And for me, that's my whole goal as a personal trainer, at least it is as an empowerment strategist too, is to create a new normal. That we're not trying to negotiate your wounds and your issues and your habits. We're trying to change them. We're trying to repattern things so that you are different now. You've moved away from the reason why whatever the story is around weight or your image, body image, or your clothing or dating, or your how you feel about your being in your own skin. I wanted to heal the whole package, and I didn't had a lot of men that were clients of me as a personal trainer, so they weren't interested in that. So now that I have this and you guys, it's like, oh well, let's do the real work. Let's make peace with ourselves. Let's love ourselves. Let's accept ourselves no matter what size we are, because in order to change, you have to accept where you are first. And even at some point in time, things go up and things go down, and not divorcing the scale, like Julie says. One of my chapters in Fit to Love is about divorcing the scale, because when we are reducing our self-worth down to a number or down to a size or down to what we look like, I mean, that hurts our soul. That's not who we are. And until we're at one and at peace with the energy underneath. I forgot to tell you, Mandy, in I actually, when I was looking to put more words in the book for the publisher and for the agent, I pulled that podcast. I'm like, oh, got to put in this one. I know Mandy will appreciate that. And it is one of my favorites too. But the energy underneath is that you become a fan and an advocate for your body versus someone who's self-hating and self-shaming and beating yourself up with guilt and shame, because that never is sustainable and it feels terrible. So why stop doing it? Yes. So thanks, Karen. All right, Tracy.
All right. So the changes that really stuck for me is really how I was looking at my body. There was a lot of frustration there. It wasn't cooperating. That was kind of a struggle. So just kind of learning to trust my body, that I really shifted my mindset that weight is a symptom. It's not the problem. I came to you hoping you would help me change my weight. But then the more I was working the program, then I could see that really weight was just a little yellow or red flag, depending on how you look at that. So that was a really nice shift. My body's not working against me. It's just giving me some information about what I'm putting in, how I'm moving it. I know that part of my results was reducing that C-reactive protein. And so it was nice to see that movement in my labs and seeing some physical responses that way, and my digestion. So those shifts about how we eat and the choices that we make. It's not just about the taste, although you did assure us that we wouldn't have to eat anything that we didn't care for. So I held you to that. And really, I found a lot of really nutritious, delicious food. So I think that there was a three-pronged kind of approach that we were able to do with movement, diet, and the emotions. And I don't think I had all three of those in the past. I never worked on all three at the same time. So I think that really helped shift things this time as well.
I want to speak to quickly what you said about not making you eat something that you don't like. And my hope is, as you all continue on this and everyone who's listening, that you will love your body so much you'll eat whatever is good for it. Sometimes, right? Because if it's some kind of nutrient that I need, or if I'm on a detox or whatever, like it doesn't even really matter what it tastes like. If it's something that my body needs, it's going to heal it. I'm going to drink it. May I hate it? I may, but not. And I'm not talking about food. I'm talking about like supplements or some kind of drink or shake or something you might need for some whatever reason. I was taking something recently that, I mean, it was god awful. It was god awful, but it was a short term thing, like with a parasite cleanse. So the black walnut, the green black walnut liquid is disgusting, but it's fine. You just shoot it down, like whatever. It's not a big deal. And so it's not because I want you to suffer. It's because I want you to say, if this is good for me, then I will make it happen. And I won't sit and enjoy it like a meal, of course. But anyway, just to find that balance, because sometimes definitely, and as you all experience, as most of you have experienced by being here at my house, the way that I cook for you is that I feed people in a way that it's good for you, and I won't feed you something I won't eat. So it's going to be organic, it's going to be grass fed, it's going to be wild, it's going to be gluten free always. It may not be dairy free, but there are times where I do vegan and dairy alternatives for sure. But even that, it's still going to be no seed oils, it's going to be homemade, it's going to be no preservatives, it's going to be maybe picked off my trees or, farmers market grown. And it's going to be full of flavor. I'm going to use herbs, I'm going to use some salt. We're going to have a lot of different flavor and variation. And I think that people forget that you can be with food in a different way. And if you don't have and expand your palate beyond what your lifestyle and your habits lead you to have. So, definitely that's part of the fun part of, I think I love always talking about food and Date Your Body, because then we get to share, new things, and people like Mandy. Oh my God, Mandy changed my life with the chaffle. Can you please go back and tell me what chaffle even supposed to mean? I know it's a waffle, but why is it a chaw?
Cheese waffle.
Ah, okay. Yes. Chaffles are the keto version of a waffle. It is virtually carb free. And I bought two waffle irons because of that. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm buying a little heart one. I went crazy the day you told us about chaffles. I bought my first little waffle iron, and then I bought the four mini ones so that I can make them for other people. And yeah, love those chaffles. Those are great. So I love sharing food tips inside Date Your Body. It's great. So thank you for that. All right, Miss Amy.
Hi. So I think what really stuck with me is the self-love part and all of the Ho'oponopono and the loving seven. And because for me it was the why and why am I overindulging and and attacking food. And I know like I don't do that anymore. And I mean, not all the time, but I know the why and I know how what I need to do to help myself to not overindulge. Like yesterday, I went to brunch with a bunch of girls and I saw the beans and I saw the corn. I saw the things that I know cause inflammation. And I'm like, I know how I'm going to feel after I eat that. And so it's never worth it. And me knowing that I'm going to feel good after I eat is enough for me to say no to those things.
As much as I support you staying away from beans and corn, I want to remove the never. Here's why. So I went to the neighbors. Where was I? I was in Sedona, and Doug, because I left him, the neighbors were like, "Oh, are you by yourself? Do you want to come for dinner?" Like twice, like 2 days in a row. So I'm over here having FOMO. I'm like, "What? Well, how come I?" And they're like, "Well, next time Doug goes out of town." So Doug went out of town. I'm like, "I'm coming over here on Saturday for dinner, okay?" And they're like, "Okay." So I invited myself over, and then I didn't ask anything about the menu. I didn't say, "What are we having?" I mean, she knows I'm gluten free. Anyway, but so she served polenta. Now I love the polenta. Now I love polenta with some truffle and some butter and some Parmesan cheese in it. I think it had the dairy. It had the dairy, but didn't have the truffle. But so I ate it, but I generally don't eat any corn. I stay away from corn chips, minus once in a while if I'm having a really, like, I'd say once every quarter, maybe every 4 months. Doug will buy those stupid truffle cheddar corn chips at Trader Joe's, right? And I'll eat, like the crunchy cheese crunchies. And if I'm like I had too much to drink, or I don't know, I'm having PMSing or something, but it doesn't happen very often. And I basically say, please don't buy those because I have a hard time. If we don't open the bag, I'm good. But the minute you open the bag and I smell them, game over. I can control myself. I definitely, over the years, it's gotten better and better. It's very easy for me to look at things that I love and say, not worth it, not worth it. I'm not having that. I'm not having that. It gets easier and easier every time. And I guess most of you would probably agree. The more you fast, the easier it gets also. Your relationship with food changes when you do the Prolon, the fasting mimicking diet, because once when you're used to eating every couple of hours and eating all this food, and then you reduce your calories for 5 days, over time, like I still don't eat everything that's on that plan every single day because I've done it so many freaking times. It's been many years and many times. I do it like 3 to 6 times a year. It's like, or I say 3 to 5 years, 3 to 5 times a year. And I've been doing it for 10 years. That's a long time. And you change your relationship with food. We have covered most of the questions right now. I'm going to look at the questions again because I was reading through them, and I want to ask just one more question from the original list that I sent you, and then I want to open up to anything else you want to share. So the question I think that we've answered in different ways, but let's fine tune it. How has this inner work impacted other areas of your life, your relationships, energy, confidence, or sense of freedom? Let's start with Julie.
I feel like I sort of answered that when I was talking, because my life is entirely different. And my pre-life was very appropriate for an 80-year-old. And my life now is, right now is like, I feel powerful. I feel strong. I feel like I have a lot to share. And I'm going to keep going with that.
Your life now is that of a 40-year-old.
Yeah. When I go back to Pennsylvania to visit, my friends are like, well, you had mentioned about the doctors saying I'm aging backwards, and the doctors would say, I wish all my patients would pay attention like you do, and that sort of thing. But they'll all say, you look so much younger. You look so much younger. So, yeah. Or I will say that I'm 82, and people will go like, no, you're not. But anyway, I'm, I don't know.
Well, it's okay. You did. You did. You probably did kind of cover that in the first question. So maybe just think about for the last round anything else you want to add about Date Your Body, about what maybe you didn't know you'd get out of it. That you went in for the body and came out with what, like things that you didn't even think you'd come out with.
Right. Yeah. One thing is, I stopped beating myself up for, like, oh, look at what you could have done if you did all that, because I became accepting of my body where it is now and what we've done with it, and also accepting that my inner child or my higher self or whatever did all the things to my body that I needed to do to protect myself all those years. Because then I was always kind of like in, looking over my shoulder mode. Is somebody going to grab me? Is somebody going to do this? Somebody going to do that? And now I'm like, yeah, this is good. This is good. And I also just have, I was coming from my tiny home over to the big house today because they're gone. And I made a big bowl of uh, garden vegetables and kind of like made a vegetable soup. And I put it in the bowl that I ordinarily, like the old Julie would have eaten. And I couldn't finish it. So, but I've been finding that I'm doing that a lot. And I end up, what in the past would have been one meal now becomes two and sometimes even three. So those are kind of like practical things. And then there's the whole spiritual, emotional part that's just divine. And I also used to be like, oh, I got to cook dinner. Now I go, look how much fun it is to fix this and try to approach all that preparation and all that eating with a sense of love and what it's going to do for my body. And I try to say no bad foods, because if I see that piece of angel food cake, I go like, okay, so this is going to be okay. We're not falling off the wagon and we're not doing this. We are saying, body, we love you, we appreciate you, and bless you for supporting us all these years.
Yeah, I agree with you about the food shaming. For me, the structure helps me to stay focused and to have like it's really easy. Like I'm about to go on a cruise for 3 weeks, and I'm deathly afraid of all the food. But here's what I know for sure: I will not be having any. Like there are things that will never change. I'm not going to have any gluten. I'm not going to have any corn. I'm not going to have any beans. I'm not going to be eating the pizza late at night because it won't be gluten free. I won't be having a ton of sugar because half the desserts probably won't be gluten free, which is a good way to kind of rein in what otherwise I may look at as, whoa, let's have a vacation and fun and like let it all go. And I'm going to go to the gym every day. Um, and the other thing I want to impart on people that I find really exciting, and now I love to cook and bake, and I agree with you. You have to, when you make peace with something and your nervous system has peace, it's why I made my wine. High vibrational wine is because I wanted to find someone making the wine I loved without glyphosate. And then I wanted to embody it and charge it energetically. So that way, all of the good parts of it, my body will take, and all the bad parts of it, it will just not even be in alignment with. It won't be a problem, which is what you're doing with the angel food cake. However, let me add that it is really fun to play with making gluten-free angel food cake. So, and then it's even more like, oh my gosh, I made this. And because I made it and it tastes so good, I'm so excited about it. I'm going to eat less of it because I have my hands in it and my nervous system has made peace and is in parasympathetic. And now I can really appreciate it and I can share it. And there's, I've cleared the air, if you will, on any concerns. Not that you can't just bless all your food. That would work too. That would help. But I really love people to get into the kitchen. I want them to make things. I want them to be creative. I want you to be a problem solver. I want you to look at something that you want and say, gosh, I really miss that, and say, no, how can I? That's my favorite episode of my show, Mandy. How can I is my favorite episode. How can I have that? What could I do? How can I make that in a way that gets me what I want, that I feel so good about and proud of myself that I figured out how to problem solve having this in a way that is super amazing for my body. I have sugar a little bit here and there, and I don't fret about it, because if I've made a meal that's basically carb free, like yesterday, like when the neighbors came over, again, we had some ribs and we had some cauliflower and we had a salad and we had my not cornbread, which is not mine. But anyway, it's an amazing recipe it's grain free. There's some carbs in it, but it's not corn, but it tastes just like cornbread, which most of you have had at my house. And I love it. And I only have like a little piece of it, but it's amazing because I know it's really good for me. It's paleo, it's almost keto, or it might be keto. So anyway, so I love that. And also everybody think about how can I take something that I love that I think I miss? There's no restriction. I guess that's really my message to everybody. I do not do a restriction. I don't want you to do restriction. I want you to do replacement. Okay? It's like figure out what is the food, what does it do to your body? Do I want that for me? And if it's a taste thing or a flavor thing or whatever, is there another way to get that without putting this that compromises or has maybe a little bit more negative stuff than positive stuff for me? Just be aware. People eat like mindlessly. They have no idea what's in their food. Pay attention to your labels. See what's in it. I'm preaching to the choir over here. Chef Karen's going to chime in here in a second. Right? But like having people just learn how to cook a little bit more. And I love that you had that transformation with making food for yourself. It's now, because I think when you start to feel better and your body responds better, then you realize that food piece is the number one way we fuel ourselves. And why wouldn't we attend to that in such a high level way, caring so deeply about what I'm putting in my body? It's the same of paying attention to every thought you think, of every word that you say. When we're more intentional about all of these actions, how I move my body, if I'm moving my body, right? Those all together create such an environment that our body thrives in. It heals. It heals because it feels the love. So thank you, Julie. So for the last question, why don't you think about whatever else you might want to say that I haven't asked, or if someone's out there, obviously you're 82, so there's not an age limit, everybody, there's not a young enough or too old, and like maybe just think about some of the things people might say, well, but, and anything you want to say to them to put that in perspective for them. So thank you. Let me move to Mandy.
How's it impacted other areas of my life? Well, for me, Date Your Body was like really the introduction to the toolbox. So, most people who join your programs have been longtime listeners and they know what the feelings and needs list is. I did not. So it was also the introduction to like the interdependence of our body and our mind and our spirit and how they all work together and it's all important. So it's grown everything. It's grown everything for me. So existing relationships are better. I show up differently, so people respond differently. I'm more confident, so I've made new friends. I The hardest thing I've ever done. I walked into a group of women that I'd never met before and sat down and ate with them and participated in a meeting um, because the person that invited me didn't show up. So just when I'm calm, I'm calm or I'm silly, I'm appreciative, I'm self-confident, I'm playful. And me being all of those things allow other people to be all of those things. So it's touched everything.
So Mandy did not sign up for Date Your Body. She signed up for Rewire Conversation. And it just happened to be that our interview was the night we were starting Date Your Body. So I said, well, I have this program. It's starting in an hour from now. I don't know. Maybe it's probably too soon. Oh, you're a Taurus. You're not going to do it. Um, and of course, then like 30 minutes later, she's like, I'm in. Here's my money. And I'm like, okay. And so she joined our Date Your Body group, which I'm glad, of course, I was very happy about. So I'm really glad that you showed up because I don't know if y'all heard, but Mandy takes the cake for she's got the overachiever award for 2025. She's done more programs in a calendar year than anybody else, and we had that conversation. It's not a competition. I'm just saying she's been drinking out of a fire hose for a year, and has a lot to show for it. So I thank you, Mandy. Karen.
Okay, so um, I think for me, I have to say one of the things is really what opened my eyes a lot is the fasting. Being a chef, always being around food. I've had friends that would mention fast. I'm like, no, 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 I can't fast. I was a mom, raised two kid boys. It had to be breakfast, lunch, dinner every night. I'm a chef. I got to cook breakfast, lunch, dinner, every meal, meal, meal. And when I did the fasting mimicking diet and I myself didn't even eat I wound up not eating everything some of the days. Like on the 2 bar days, I only eat 1 bar most of the time. And just the minute like eating a little bar for breakfast, but it was filling. And I think it's just with the bars, I find you just slowly eat the bar. And it's not, more aware of eating too. I think one of my problems is a lot of mindless eating. A lot of times at work, I'll just sit at my desk and I'll just mindlessly eat while I'm doing something on the computer or anything else. And this made me stop and actually turn away from the computer and just sit there and eat my bar and drink my cup of coffee and just really pay more attention to what I was eating. And also in regards to the fasting, how much less my body actually needs. And once in a blue moon, I would go maybe 12, 14 hours, but now on a regular basis, like a normal day usually is at least 12, mostly 14 hours a day in between for um, intermittent fasting. So the fasting mimicking diet as well as the intermittent fasting have been very, very powerful to me. And like I said, being around food, I walk into work, trays of bacon are coming out, chocolate chip cookies, mindless eating, pick, 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 pick. Now, no, it's all right. And if one day I decide that I eat the cookie and I eat the bacon, then guess what? The next day, I don't eat the cookie and the bacon. I go back to eating what's more aligned to what I want to eat with. So I'm not spiraling into that because I also would find if I start on a poor eating pattern, it could just snowball more and more. Well, oh, who cares? Let me just eat that. Plus the fact that once you put the sugar and all of that into your body, it just roller coasters more and you want more and more. And someone I work with would start my mornings off most mornings. She would always, especially she was pregnant at one point, so she would make these big breakfasts for her and make it for me as well. And I would eat it along with her. Yeah. And now I'm like, if she wants to make something, I'm like, half, we could split it, and we split a portion instead of this. So there's a lot of big changes in regards to that. And I'm a chef. I know about food and this and that, but it gives you different types of awareness. So that was very powerful to me, and confidence. Definitely a lot more confidence. I walk into a room and always feel like the less than and all, which triggers a lot of core wounds. But with the other core wound work I've done and other programs I have, this just solidified it more and just enhanced all the tools and everything and the beliefs and the stronger beliefs and the more confidence in myself. So
Two things. I think it sounds like, correct me if this is not accurate about what you're saying. So Karen had done a 3-month version of a core wound program that I did a couple years ago. And then you did a journey during Date Your Body. And sometimes like the core wound work or the rewire, these are concepts. And we do, especially in the 6-month and then even the 9-month, focus on embodying these concepts, stretching past the neural pathways, stretching past the comfort zone. And when you're doing something like Date Your Body, it's all about the physicality. It's the embodiment of the beliefs. It's the way to prove to yourself that you are learning, and the things that you're looking at, like how does that translate into my body, into how I take care of myself, and how do I talk to myself? How do I look at myself? How do I carry myself? I feel like the Date Your Body, because you did it reverse. So Mandy did Date Your Body first, and then she did the rewire. You did a rewire, and then you did Date Your Body. So it's almost like it was kind of ethereal and conceptually in some ways. And then in Date Your Body, it was an opportunity to practice it with your physical body, with the relationship with yourself. Does that sound accurate?
absolutely, yes.
Now, with you and the fasting, so some people who don't know anything about this program are probably already freaking out, thinking, "Oh my God, I'm not going to fast. I can't fast. She's going to ask me to fast. I can't. I have to eat all the time. I have low blood sugar. I have to fast." So, can you just speak to, because you have an option. You do not have to do it. I've not made anybody do it. In fact, Mandy did her own version. But in the 3-month, it is we do it together. We schedule when we're going to do it together, and it's optional. And I can't make you. I'm not at your house. I can't force you to eat or not eat what we're talking about here. But how would you speak to that for someone who's listening to this who's already freaking out about, I can't fast. I'm not fasting. I'm not doing this.
Okay, so stop freaking out if you are, number one. Okay, it's actually you're eating. So it's not like you're going without food. And the food that you're eating is satisfying. I mean, it's bars, it's a lot of soups and teas. And even like one of the things that the treat at night, it's amazing. 4 macadamia nuts and a little bit of chocolate, right? Now, I could eat handfuls of I could put more than 4 in my mouth at a time. I mean, and here it's just learning the difference that I would literally take a little bite of the chocolate and eat 1 nut, take another bite of chocolate and eat another nut. You're eating, but you're eating portioning is a huge part of, of just dieting alone. And I hate to say the word diet, because that too, people think of diet, they think of like what restrictions. It's not really restrictions, because you're eating. Look, you're even getting to eat like a little nut and some chocolate, certain chocolate and certain bars and certain soups, but it's satisfying. And then obviously the great part was that we all got together and we would talk on the Marcos and everything else and on the calls, and we learned about the cucumbers, right? And we made our own little versions of things that became, and I did that myself instead of the olives. Even olive eating, one of the things you could have as a snack. And it's a couple of olives, but as you're eating it's not a couple, I think it's 10 olives or something, right? 5 or 10, 5 or 10, I don't, whatever it is. But even just that amount, you're just eating it. Instead of, you go to a party, it's an antipasta, you're grabbing olives and salami and this and that, as opposed to you could actually sit there and just eat a couple of olives and be satisfied. So you're eating, but you're looking at the food, and I think through a different lens, and you're enjoying it in a different way, and you find it satisfying. And I think it's more satisfying because you are looking at the food as compared to the mindless eating, which half the time you're just shoving food in your mouth and you're not really truly enjoying the food that you're eating. So,
Yeah, it's mindfulness embodied because I don't think I've ever said this in any Date Your Body. So I'm going to say it now. It's called rest and digest. Resting means your parasympathetic nervous system is activated, which means you're in a state of calm. Calm. So when we're mindful and we're eating an olive or a bite of chocolate and one nut, you're present and you're calm. Mindless eating is when we're multitasking and eating and we're not paying attention. We're not smelling the food. We're not with the food. We're not chewing enough. We're not with the texture of the food. And so we're overeating because we don't get the brain signals that say, hey, you're full. By the way, you're full, which is why when you do the fast mimicking diet enough or you're intermittent fasting enough, your body realizes it's the receptors change and you get the signals faster, which makes you go, oh, I'm not, and you eat slower. And it's called rest and digest for a reason. So thank you for that, Karen. I just wanted to address that as you were saying it, because I know that some people might be interested in this program, but might go, I'm checking out. I'm not going to fast. I'm not doing that. Or they think fasting means I'm not going to eat for a week. And that's not what it means. So thank you for that. All right, Tracy.
Yeah, so to kind of jump on that theme too, regulated me makes much better choices. And I think in the past, it was almost analysis paralysis. I mean, every book you read, everything you see out there contradicts the other thing you did. And I was never able to maintain my results. So that's what's kind of nice about 10 months later and still maintaining that. So through that calm, I was able to really listen to my body. That was one of my goals of the program. I have a friend who did more of a commercial program and her body was talking to her and I was so jealous. Like, how does she know that food doesn't agree with her? How, does she figure that out? And by the time we were done with Date Your Body, my body had always been talking to me. I just didn't know how to read the signs. And so it was a really neat relationship I was able to create with my body. So it wasn't so much focused on how my body looks but really it was what my body is doing, for my highest and best good, that had been going on for many years. And I didn't give credits, or props to it properly. So it was really an awakening, really, and a partnership that was formed throughout the program. And I think too, just that it's another form of self-care. So we were able to turn, eating every day as a form of self-care. Although we worked in the other components as well. It was just felt like the complete package. So definitely that confidence, knowing what to do, knowing what was successful, knowing what your particular body wants, craves, needs. That was really an awakening and a gift. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Tracy. Well, more to come. And I'm sure we'll talk at another point about, all the shifts in your nervous system and how that has played into, and also just in your journey of transformation and things you're still working on and things are sort of unlayering. And like, the body does bring it back into the body is the first place we have to go for the nervous system, right? The body has to, this is not just a thought. It's our physicality. It's how our neurons are firing. It's what are we playing? What are we talking about? What are we responding to? What's the energy surrounding us? And so we have an opportunity with food and diet and exercise and self-care to attend to that every day. So I do think it is creating a good foundation. So thank you for that. Amy.
Well, right when we started Date Your Body, I had this whole like menopause thing happening. And so you turned us on to really good supplements. I remember when we all were frantic getting that progesterone cream, and we were all like, this stuff is amazing. And so the supplement piece, and also the exercise grid that you had us do. And so when I upped my caught my what is it, cardio, and then also the weight
Resistance training.
resistance, yes, and I added one more Pilates class per week, and that really made a difference in my midsection. And along with the fasting and the progesterone cream and the supplements, And just that morning ritual, it just really changed me. And I know like I have that grid just imprinted in my brain. And I know exactly how much I need to exercise, just remembering that grid. And then also knowing when I'm plateauing in exercise and I'm not sore, or I don't feel like I don't know, I can just feel it in my body when I need to do more cardio, or I need to do the weight resistance, or I even need to stretch more. So I'm just way more in tune with my body, like all around.
I remember when you started the program and you were talking about how you attack food, and the fact that you brought that up again today. I was like, okay, so she's no longer attacking food. It's such a visual to have you, like, as a teacher, to go into the teacher's lounge and attack the food. Like, oh my gosh, like, a heat-seeking missile. And now, that in itself is, if that's what you did for years and years and years, to shift that, changes your relationship with food. It sounds like, and maybe anyone correct me if I'm wrong, everyone has had a shift in their relationship with food to some degree. And everyone's had a shift in their relationship with exercise and and self-care and taking the time to do this. And you're a priority for yourself now. Whereas before it might have been something to do to get to a result. Before you gave yourself the grace and love that you were looking for. Now we give the grace and love now to support us making those choices for ourselves. I'm just going to go around the circle one more time and see if there's any last words of wisdom, advice, encouragement that you want to share with those that are listening or with everybody that's here.
Well, when you love yourself more, it gives you a whole lot more capacity to love everybody else. It really
True.
does. And you said about the well butt. I would say anyone that's listening, number one thing, the fasting mimicking diet, everybody concentrates on the fasting, and it's actually the mimicking, because you're eating all kinds of food, you're still, they send you a huge box, and I put that food out and I was like, wow, this is a lot of food. And I found I was eating more on the mimicking. The mimicking is the part, because it's helping your body mimic fasting, which is good. I mean, they do it in churches and things, so it has to be good for you. Anyway, what I wanted to say is that you are in charge. The JJ will give you tools, as Mandy said. There will be tools, and you can do the tools or not do the tools. You're in charge. And why wouldn't you want to do something that will make you feel the best that you can feel in your body, in your mind, and in your soul? And bless you all on your journey.
Thank you, Julie. Uh, Maybe this is an awkward question to ask because I hope you'll all be honest, but uh, but I believe you all interpret me as I love you and want the best for you. And so if I push you a little harder, it's because I want you to get out of your own fucking way and like experience the joy, the peace, the love. Yes, right? Okay, okay. I mean, I invite if you don't believe that, but if you don't receive me that way. But so when Julie says, you don't have to do the things, and you don't have to do the things. And there are times where we can come up with another way for you to get similar results. But and I'm flexible to, if you don't want to do it this way, can we do it a different way? But there comes a point in which you got to do it some way that's different than what you're currently doing, because you're committing to saying, hey, I want to make changes. So I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. That's kind of my brand. I hold your feet to the fire to do the things that you cannot get yourself to commit to do yourself on a more consistent basis, with the intention of why you're doing it isn't just to do hard things. It's because what you want is on the other side of your resistance to doing the things that get you the results that you want. So,
That's the big accountability word. Accountability.
yeah.
So.
Accountability. And I aim to, and I think I do a good job, which is why I have a hard time finding coaches, because they won't trust me. I aim to hold a higher vision for you than you have of yourself. I see you in flourishing ways in all ways, and want you to see that too. And that's always my goal, to try to pull you into a vision of yourself that you may not have considered, that is bigger, brighter, happier, calmer, peaceful, excited, whatever the words are that is you. And it's not pressure. It's not my life, it's yours. But I'm here to hold that vision so that you may then start to hold that vision and make choices based on that vision for you instead of potentially a vision that you have that has been learned behavior or response to wounds or whatever. And for me, that's an important part of having a coach is someone who can see brighter, bigger, and more for you than you may be able to see for yourself. I have had a hard time finding someone. One of my coaches who I love, I was like, well, what do you see? And she wouldn't do for me what I think I do for other people. I'm like, no, I want you to see bigger for me. I want you to inspire me as to what you see for me. And I'm like, well, I guess I just do it for myself. Okay, it's fine. But I'm here to hold the space for all of you to pull you into a place where you can learn to allow more, learn to want more, learn to admit you deserve more, and then act accordingly based on that new belief system. So, yeah, speak up now or forever hold your peace if you disagree. No, I'm kidding. You can just pop in right here. So Mandy, do you have anything to say?
Yeah. So the real surprising thing about Date Your Body for me, okay, so anybody that's listening knows about manifestation. The only reason we want what we want is because we think we'll feel better if we have it, right? So a lot of us want to lose weight so that we feel better, or we want to get stronger so we feel better. But what we learned in Date Your Body is that we can choose to feel better and appreciate our bodies now. And what that does is it allows our bodies to do the thing we were trying to do to begin with. When we give ourselves grace, when we appreciate our bodies, when we treat ourselves with compassion, shifts just happen and they don't feel like efforting. They don't feel as hard. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're speaking my language. It makes perfect sense to me. And hopefully it translates on Karen shaking her head and Amy's giving a thumbs up. So we all understand. And that was beautifully said, Mandy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Karen.
Amen to that. Well said. And talk about pushing with loving care when I was at last year's live event and getting ready to leave on the last day when JJ pushed me. She's like, you're not leaving here without committing to something. And I was like, okay, fine. And I'm so grateful once again that I did. When I first started a couple of years ago doing courses and classes with JJ, scarcity was such a big thing for me. It was always about the money and the scarcity numbers, and thankfully JJ has made me realize that every penny that you invest in yourself is so well worth it, and the growth and to feel better about yourself and to truly love yourself is an amazing thing. And I thank you so much for being on this journey with me and getting me to finally, after now at 57 years, to finally be able to look in a mirror and say, I love you and feel good about myself is a true achievement. So you push us and push us. And sometimes I'm thinking things in my head like, oh, but you know what? I appreciate every push and every bit of love that you give us. And the amazing hostess you are when you go there and all the delicious food that you do make when someone visits. So thank you for everything.
You're welcome,
And
Karen.
thank you for this whole group. And, Amy and Tracy, Julie and Mandy, met you last year at the live event, but Tracy and Amy were part of my Date Your Body, and it was just a phenomenal, and we still continue till this day, talk about continuing. We still Marco each other every single day. So talk about it continuing. It is continuing. And like we say, it's a lifelong we've made here. So thank you.
They do in their group too. They do in their group as well.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Karen. Yeah, and there are people that I'm going to push and they're going to run the other way. And I get that. It's just part of learning how to accept that it isn't for everybody. But if I say, well, am I wrong? Is it bad? Well, I'm doing it with love. I'm not doing it. This isn't about me. This is about getting you to where you want to go and seeing all the upper limits and the fears and the excuses and the things that, I don't like to see suffering. And even though we all are still going to be on our own journey, on path, and we're going to learn our lessons in our own time, if you've paid me and you've stepped forward and you're like, okay, help me, then I'm going to maximize that. And it might be out of your comfort zone. It should be out of your comfort zone. That's the whole point of changing. If it's within your comfort zone, you're not changing anything because it's comfortable. The whole point is to stretch beyond that, no matter what the program is. It's more rewire that we do that, but I definitely stretch you and date your body because you all understand the concept of being a personal trainer. I was a personal trainer first. A personal trainer doesn't let you be like, oh, I'm tired today. I'm not going to do that. No, it's like, no, push beyond your limits. Well, I'm just applying that emotionally and as well as physically and spiritually and relationally and all the things. And yeah, and if you don't want a personal trainer, that's cool. Don't work with me then. But I'm going to push you a little harder than you're going to push yourself. That's the whole point of asking for help. And that's what I would hope any coach would do, is to take somebody beyond what they're doing now, to get the results that you're seeking, that you're wanting, that you haven't been able to achieve on your own or sustain on your own. That's the whole point of doing this program. When I created it, because I saw even in other, like the day you're in the Rewire or in the Mastermind or in other programs where, I'm like, oh, we gotta deal with that physical piece. You're not sleeping. That's not good. That's not gonna help anything. You can't heal if you're not sleeping. Oh, your diet's not so great and you're now type 2 diabetes. That's not good. We gotta figure that out, or whatever. You're constantly inflamed. You're constantly reactive. You're constantly have inflammation. You will not achieve manifestation of things if you are fighting your physical body and all of the symptoms that you get from poor self-care. So yeah, that's where I started. And I love this new blend that's gotten created. So thank you, Chef Karen, for that. Tracy, what else do you would like to add to today's show?
Yeah, so when I signed up for Date Your Body, I had signed up through work for like a naturopath and a nutritional coach and all this stuff. And I did that for about 3 months before your program started. And really nothing. Like I felt like I had a ton of head knowledge, but how to what is that? Or to use it, to implement it, to implement the things I knew, it was just so stuck. And so I think that the group is really the key. Like Chef Karen said, that we still communicate to this day. We're still there for each other, highs, lows, in betweens. And that kind of non-judgmental, but like accountability is really awesome. And the data doesn't lie. Like with your program, I lost weight, but I also gained muscle and I lost fat, even that stubborn, visceral fat that they talk about. And my doctor was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, well, it's not just one thing, right? There's an emotional component, there's physical, even spiritual, and moving more, eating less is just the half of it. It's not the whole package." So I was able to run a 5K right there at the end of Date Your Body, and I went on to run a 4.2 mile race in April. And so I had completed a marathon so many years ago and had kind of given up on that. So it was really cool to kind of dip my toe back in, and I just felt so proud and so masterful. And I didn't realize I hadn't felt proud of myself in a really long time. And it wasn't about like superficial how I look or how I did or whatever. It was like just really soaked in, kind of proud. I worked very hard and I got to accomplish something. And yeah, so anyone listening, you're worth it and you can do this. Everyone's metric was designed just for them. There was no one size fits all. JJ, I thought you were going to give us a food plan and an exercise plan, and you were going to send us on our way. And I'm so glad you didn't do that. That was something we need to discover and learn to do so that we can continue doing this the rest of our lives. So thank you. Very successful. I will go on applying these principles. I'm not quite done, with weight wise, but I have also a lot of emotional stuff I'll be continuing here in the future with you as well. So these tools work, and I just plan to use them the rest of my life, really.
Thank you, Tracy. Yeah, you accomplished a lot. And especially in a situation of, stressful environment, and some people, it's different when you're living alone or, you don't have anything that's going on otherwise, and you're kind of handling a lot of different stresses while you're taking care of yourself. You're fighting an uphill battle in ways, not because of you necessarily, but you've done amazing. And I did give you a diet and exercise plan, but they were individualized. They weren't a collective, like everybody follow the same thing, right? That's again, it's customizable because of the way that we do it. You still get one-on-ones. We do the group thing, but also on the Marcos, and like we can all talk about it. I mean, I think Chef Karen's the only person I actually took through the how to do the form of the exercises, because she already had a routine. She was already had the discipline, and we're going. So I'm like, okay, now let's go deeper into what you're actually doing when you go to the gym, because you can go to the gym every day and waste a whole bunch of time doing a lot of nothing or doing things that don't really move the needle. So, I fine-tuned with her, but I didn't do that with anybody else because nobody else was as consistent as she was just going to the gym, right? Or, if you're doing stuff at home and or if you do stuff at work. So it has to work with your life, and we have to figure out how to make that work so it makes sense to you, and so it's also sustainable. Yeah, I don't want to push you to something that's completely ridiculous and you have to change everything about your life all at once, because it won't last. It's not how it's going to happen. So I appreciate you acknowledging that, and yeah, I look forward to continuing this as you move forward.
Thank you.
All right, Amy, finish us out.
I think just learning that it's okay to be uncomfortable, really being able to sit with it and not mask it with food. And that's why I attacked the food, is because I was uncomfortable or I was stressed out. And now it's like, okay, I get back to the why. Why do I attack the food? And it's because I was uncomfortable with some kind of emotion. And now I have learned to tap into that emotion and now go even deeper of why that emotion is rising, and just being okay. I'm not going to die. It's okay to be uncomfortable.
Definitely. To be fair, while you started that lesson, you got the kick in the pants during your journey on that one. But Date Your Body set the stage for what's my relationship with food and why am I acting this way, and to start to listen to the body. And also, Mandy, I will say that there are some people who have listened longer than you, but didn't necessarily, I'm not talking about anybody here, but don't use the feelings and needs list. Don't assume that everyone who's listened to my show for years uses the feelings and needs list. It did not happen. It's not until you work with me that I shove it down your throat on doesn't matter what program it is, you're going to learn it, because it's the basis of why we react the way we do and why we feel the way we do and what the problem is underneath it, because we're not solving problems. I coined it how to untangle 3 steps to untangling messy emotional situations, because we have them, and people aren't using this very simple tool. So thank you all so much for being here today to share with people. I really appreciate your willingness to share your story. I wanted to celebrate your successes. I want to share that with the world, remind you of what you've accomplished, remind you and hopefully inspire you with everybody else's who's here. And of course, everybody else who's done Date Your Body who isn't here today. I couldn't have everybody on the show. I had to sort of pick who I know is still in the program, working it real well, and has also done some other things, so we could have a really good conversation to, at least if nothing else, inspire everyone listening to consider how they treat their body, how they handle self-care, how they talk to themselves, how they look at themselves, how they eat, how they move, and how they generally love and respect themselves, because that is kind of my story. That's how I wrote Fit to Love. It was about my self-care routine fulfilling me so much that I didn't need a partner. So that way, and of course, the happiest I ever was by myself, I manifested a partner. And that's sort of how you do it, everybody. I mean, not that you need the partner by the time you've gotten all the emotions. So thank you so much. If you're interested in Date Your Body, please check the show notes. So go to jjflizanes.com/date your body, fill out an application. Let's get on a call and see if it's right for you. We start January of 2026. Love you all. Thank you so much.